Hi, welcome to CSE351, which is Introduction to Data Science, and this is summer of 2021. I'm your instructor Praveen. My lecture contents and the slides will be based on the lecture slides by Professor Skeena and Professor Radford. Right, so let's start the discussion with the course information. So here let's discuss how I'll be running this course. This is an online version of the Introduction to Data Science, which will be delivered in asynchronous mode. So asynchronous mode means that we won't have to be online at the same time. So we don't have any fixed time like at 11 a.m. EST I will be holding the lecture and all the students they should be online to listen to my lecture. No, this is asynchronous, which means that I will pre-record my lecture videos as I am doing right now, and I will upload that on YouTube and I'll share the link with you. And now it is up to you. It depends on your convenience. Whenever you find the time, you are supposed to cover the lecture material. That means you should watch my video lectures, you should go over the lecture slides, and there will be a deadline. Probably there'll be some quiz based on what I taught, maybe a week before. So I'll make those announcements later, but it is important to understand how this course would be run. Okay, so I will be sharing the course information using Blackboard. So you'll get all the material required like lecture slides, link to the video lectures, the homework, assignments, the project information, everything will be posted on Blackboard. And as I said, I will be uploading the video lectures on YouTube and I'll share the link with you. Okay, so if you want to know about me, then I'm Praveen. I'm a faculty in computer science department. I'm working as research assistant professor, and I joined the university in fall of 2017. I will be holding my office hours, and office hour will not be asynchronous, it will be synchronous. That means you can join me on Zoom, and the time that I have set up for my office hours is on Monday and Wednesday from 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you are available around that time and if you have any question, then please join me in my Zoom session, and I'll be very happy to help you out with any question or any suggestion if you have. Otherwise, if this time is not matching your schedule, then you can request for an appointment. I'll try my best to come up with a schedule which will work for us. And my email is praveen@cs.stonybrook.edu. So if you want to reach out to me, then I prefer this email. Okay, so now you might be wondering, like, what is this CSE351 about? What is it that we are supposed to learn in this Introduction to Data Science course? So interestingly, the data science subject that we have is multidisciplinary. So here we will have to learn about different skills from different domains. So we will learn about statistics little bit, we will learn about linear algebra, we will learn about machine learning, a little bit of visualization. Maybe if time permits we will look at high performance computing, which means the big data concepts. So this is an interdisciplinary, or you can say multidisciplinary course where we will look at different domains, and while we are looking at these concepts from different domains, we will look at the theory as well as the practical aspect of the techniques. Like I mentioned, machine learning is a very important component of data science. That's how I will put it. So if you have some data and you want to come up with some predictive model, then probably we will use some machine learning algorithm. Now, these machine learning algorithms are often very complicated. So we will try our best to understand these machine learning algorithms to the best we can with whatever background we have, and we will also learn the techniques of how to use that efficiently. So, well, to use those efficiently and in a short time, I will say that we should use some libraries which are already available to us, and fortunately that is the case. Most of the famous or very popular and important algorithms uh, in machine learning are already implemented in Python, so that's a good news. So in this data science course, we will learn about the theory behind most of the important machine learning algorithms, and we will also learn about the libraries in which we have all these things implemented. So the result would be that we will um, get to know about some libraries which are very handy, but at the same time we won't be using those libraries as a black box, because we will know what is there behind the scene. We will know what is being implemented in that uh, you know library. Okay, so that's the goal. Now, what are the prerequisites? Yes, we do have some prerequisite for this course, that is either CSE214 or CSE260 or AMS 310 and CSE major. So probably you know these things because you were successful in registering for this course, so I believe that you satisfy these prerequisites. Okay, so now more I did mention some topics in the previous slide, but if you really want to know what are these important topics which we will be discussing or learning about in this course, Introduction to Data Science, then here you go. The topics will include linear algebra, probability and statistics, machine learning, and yes, we should have a decent programming background. So we will also look at programming, and here um, in this course we will use Python as the programming language. So these are a few things that we will look into, and then for the practice, see, we will have to apply these techniques that we are learning to some data set. So that's the way we will learn data science. It's not 100% theory where you won't do any implementation. We will have to do implementation. We'll have to practice these techniques which I'll be teaching to you in my lectures. So what we will be doing, we will be applying these techniques to different data sets, and these data sets can come from different domains. Okay, so you might be applying the data science techniques, or which could be a machine learning algorithm on a data set which you're getting from science, technology, from medicine. It could be a sports data. So there are a lot of possibilities. So this course will involve applying um, these algorithms to different data sets, which could be challenging. They have to be a bigger data set, and in this process, when we are applying the techniques on these data sets, we will end up doing following things. These are EDA, which is the first step in data science, and this EDA stands for exploratory data analysis. This is the very important step in data science, and what we do here is that when we are given the data, then the raw data usually has a lot of problems in it. The raw data which is given to us might have noise, might have missing data. So the first thing that we do is we clean the data. Okay, we pre-process the data, we remove outliers, we remove noise from the data, because in data mining and data science too, we have this notion which says that garbage in, garbage out, which means that if your data is not clean, then whatever predictions you are making, whatever modeling you are doing on your data would be not trustworthy. So in order to make a good model which will give us a good result, we should make sure that the data that we are feeding in is a good data. So the EDA involves this task, which is pre-processing, data cleaning, feature engineering, visualization. So don't worry about all these things. I'm mentioning these things to you because today I'm giving you the introduction lecture, which is the first lecture where we should uh, uh, understand like what to expect in this course. What is it that we are going to study? Alright, so once you have done the EDA, you have cleaned the data set, you understand different features in the data set. Features means different properties. You identify like, these are the features that I should have in my model. Then the next stage would be uh, identifying an algorithm. Okay, so often we'll have a number of options available. So we need to pick one option of the model which will work the best for our data set. Okay, so we need to identify the best model, and once you model means an algorithm. So don't worry if you have difficulty understanding these terms right now, because we will be going slowly and slowly. In the first few lectures, I'll make sure that these terms are making sense to you. Anyway, don't hesitate. Please ask me questions if you have difficulty understanding these terms. Alright. So once you had the data, you cleaned the data, you visualized, and you got a good understanding of the data, and then you applied some machine learning algorithm, you developed your model. Then the next stage would be to use that model for prediction. Alright, so these are some stages which are involved in the process of uh, the data science, right? So these are some um, important steps which are involved in data science process. Okay, so now right here we have some idea about what we would be learning in this course, which is Introduction to Data Science. So this is in fact the part of your course description. So I split the course description into two parts. The first part is right here, which kind of gives you an idea about what this course is all about and what we will learn. And here you have more details about the different topics which we will be learning. All right. So now these are some instructions for you which will help us in our communication. So I'm expecting that you people would reach out to me through your email. So when you're writing me an email, then these are some basic information that I would like to pass on to you. Please mention in your subject of the email that your email is about CSE351, because I'll be teaching other courses as well in this semester, so it will help if you mention your course number. Then try your best to explain to me the problem the best you can. So try to explain all describe your problem, the problem that you're facing. Okay, and please look at Blackboard. I will be making a lot of announcements. So make sure that you are reading every announcement that I'm sending through Blackboard, which I believe you would receive an email as well for that announcement. And I will also use Piazza, so that is something I have to do. And probably in a day or so you should get an email which will give you the instruction about how to register for Piazza. So please register and ask your questions over there, and probably your friends will either answer, or I will answer, or the TAs will answer. Anyway, we will use Piazza as a forum, discussion forum, uh, to help each other out. Okay, so that was about your student forum using Piazza. Now about my office hours, as I have mentioned in the initial few slides, I will be holding my office hours on Zoom. So please join me in my office hours. And if for any reason you can't make it in my office hours, you can always ask me for an alternate time for an appointment. Alright, so you might be thinking about the textbook. So as I mentioned that it is interdisciplinary course, uh, we may not have just one ideal textbook which will have everything for this course. But luckily, I found a textbook which I believe is sufficient for this course. And that book is right here, the Data Science Design Manual. It's a very nicely written book. I love this book. Another interesting thing about this book is that it's written by one of our own professor who is very well known in the domain of data science. So if you want, probably you can get a copy of this book and you can read that. There are other standard books as well which you can use as reference, like the Elements of Statistical Learning is a very standard book. Well, it might be a little intense because I think it's about machine learning, that to statistical machine learning, but I will encourage you people to have a look at it. And then the third book right here, which is Python for Data Analysis, would be a very handy book because here the focus would be totally different. In the Data Science Design Manual, we may not talk too much about implementation. Here, most of the discussion might be on just the theory. Whereas in Python for Data Analysis, you will find more details about the Python libraries. So this might be another handy book for you. And these books will be important when you want to make your career in data science. And as goes the other book doing data science, it should be just like Python for Data Analysis. There's this very standard book which is Pattern Recognition and Machine Learning. This is a good reference book, so you're welcome to have a look at that too, but it might be a little intense. It needs a lot of mathematical background, but yeah, I will encourage you to have a look at that as well. So now what I'll be doing during the lectures, I will also give you a reference to the textbook from which I'm teaching a particular topic. As an example, we have another very standard machine learning book which is by Tom Mitchell. So as an example, if I happen to teach neural networks from Tom Mitchell, then I will tell you in my lecture that this part that I'm teaching you right now is from the machine learning textbook written by Tom Mitchell. So that way it will be easier for you to refer to that textbook if you want to learn more about what I'm teaching. Alright, so again, the same issue of the discussion forum, we'll be using Piazza. Now when you're using Piazza, probably you know the rules regarding it. You should be very careful about academic integrity. So since you'll have some homeworks and assignments, it's fine to help your friends, but you should be very careful. you should never post your solutions. You should never share your assignments with your friends. So be careful when you're using Piazza for discussion. You can discuss concepts, that is perfectly alright, but make sure that you're not posting your solution. As an example, assume that we'll be learning probability, and there's a concept like entropy, and if I have given you a question in your homework which says that compute the entropy for this scenario. Now you can discuss with your friends the concept of entropy, but in this process you should never share the answer to a question which is there in the homework, because I will treat that as academic dishonesty. So if in doubt, check with me. Alright, and that's about it. Do not post your assignment solutions there. This is regarded as academic dishonesty case. Okay, so alright, I think I already mentioned to you about the Piazza forum. Alright, so grading criteria, again, this should be there in your mind, like how are we going, how we will grade this course. So there will be one midterm exam which will carry 20% of your final grade. There will be one final test which will account for 25% of your final grade. The project would be the main component of this course, which will have 35% weight. We'll have quizzes. Quizzes would be 6%, and the homework would be 14%. Now, you might be having these questions like how many quizzes, when will we have quizzes, how many homeworks. So I'll request you to please give me some time, maybe in a day or so I'll come up with that plan and I'll share the dates with you. Alright, so again the same message, right? Don't copy assignments. If you do that, then you will be penalized for that. We'll give you a negative grade for copying, so which is a bad news. What I would say is, do your work honestly. Doesn't matter if it is not 100%. If it is 75% correct, you will get 75%. But if you're trying to make it 100% by using some unfair means, then if you're caught, then that would be a bad news. Alright, so please do your assignments and your project, your work yourself. Alright, so again the same information repeated multiple times. Blackboard announcements are important. Everything would be posted over there, the lecture material and all, and even the grades you'll get there. So if you're done with the quiz, probably you should receive your quiz grade right there on the blackboard. Same applies to your homeworks, your exam or your test, and also your project. So all the grades would be posted on your blackboard. Again, academic honesty. So this lecture, the very first lecture, is about all these aspects of the course. So hopefully you know about our university rule, about academic honesty. All the work that you submit should be your own work, and you can discuss the general assignment concepts with your friend, as I was mentioning. And that is encouraged. Discussing the concept with your friends is encouraged, and even I will participate in that. You can directly ask question to me. I'll try my best, and I'll have TAs, they will join us too. We will discuss concepts, but we should never share the answer, okay? Because that won't be that will be counted as academic dishonesty case. You should never share code or answers with other people. Now why? Because if you're suspected of cheating, you will be brought up on academic dishonesty charges, which is the worst case that can happen. And if you find guilty, you know the result, it will be enough. So I mentioned that in all my course, the first lecture, which is the easiest way to fail in the course. The easiest way to fail in the course is to be dishonest. Alright, so never ever do that. Okay, now to the data science thing, right? So why should you register for data science? So this is a motivation for you people. Why data science, right? So probably you know about it, that data science is one of the emerging domain in which we have a lot of job opportunities, and even these jobs that we have in data science are challenging, and at the same time these are highly paid jobs as well. So let's look at some reference and try to understand that how important data science is in today's scenario. So there was this report which has been mentioned right here, and if you're interested in knowing about this report in detail, you can follow this link and read about it. And it says that the demand for data scientists is too much, and we don't have those many data scientists right now. So what does it say? It says that data science skills are in high demand across the industries. So how much is that? So we are lacking 151,717 data scientists. So these many positions are not filled because of the lack of that skill. We don't have sufficient data scientists. There are 151,717 vacancies in data science for which we could not find the skilled people. A big motivation for us. That's one resource. And how about this one? Now, the data scientist job has been selected by Glassdoor as the most satisfying job and the best paid job in 2016, 17, 18, and 19. So you can see that consistent trend, which highlights the fact that data science has a big future, a very bright future. Alright, now, well, what are we going to study? Again, this is kind of unrelated to the previous topics, but that's important. What will we teach? We will teach you the theory as well as the practical aspects of data science, techniques. Theory as well as the programming skills are required, and we will teach that. Now, the next slide is related to what we have here. Here the question that we were answering was, why should we study data science today? So one of the motivation is that you have very bright future in data science. And there could be other reasons also, like you might be fascinated by data science, right? It can happen. I love data science. I like the challenges. I like the problems in data science. So that could be the case with you also. But other than that, you have this career prospect. It's in high demand. Okay, so now the point is, why are these jobs so much in demand? Why do we have a shortage in supply? Okay, why do we have a shortage? The reason is that it is challenging, right? So it's not easy. So the next question right here in this slide is data science challenging? Well, the answer to that is yes, it is. That's the reason that data scientists are paid highly. So what are the challenges? Well, it has to do with the nature of data science. You need to know a lot of skills. What are these skills? For being a successful data scientist, you should have a decent background in probability. You should have decent understanding of linear algebra. You should know statistics. You should also have some idea about machine learning algorithms. You should know how to visualize the data. You should have decent programming skill, and at the same time you should have some domain knowledge as well. So I have some experience of appearing in an interview, and I did pretty well. I was good in machine learning, and I was answering all the questions. but that was an interview for a bank. Unfortunately, I did not have a background in finance, so that went against me. So the message is that you should be good in these domain. You should know probability, linear algebra, machine learning. You should have a decent programming skill, but at the same time, you should also have some background information. You should know the domain as well. So, if you want to do a data science in on a medical data, then you should have some understanding of the domain. You should know what problem you are solving. You should understand the data. Okay, so domain knowledge is also very handy. So, as an example, say there is a company which works on images, and you have to analyze images, but you don't have the background in images, so that will be a negative factor. Alright, so all these components that we need to learn in data science makes it a little challenging. Okay, now, well, you might be thinking about it, it's only the introductory lecture and we are supposed to know so much. So can I become a data scientist when I don't know much of these things that you spoke about? Right, so if you want to count, then this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 skills to have just for one domain, which is data science. Fortunately or unfortunately, that is the case. But one good news is that if you don't know most of these things, even then you are fine. Okay, why? So that's the question. I don't know much of these. Can I dream to be a data scientist? Well, yes, the answer is yes, you can. What you need is that enthusiasm. You should have the dream to be a data scientist, and then you should be ready to work hard for that. Okay, so now what is the good news in this case? The good news is about the libraries that we have available. So in Python we have a lot of libraries available in which we will have the implementation of these algorithms, which are very handy in data science. So you won't have to reinvent the wheel. As an example, if you have to use neural network, so artificial neural network is a classification and even regression algorithm which is heavily used in machine learning and yes, in data science. So you won't have to implement neural network or artificial neural network right from scratch. We have that already implemented in Python libraries like sklearn, scikit-learn. Okay, so you should have the determination to go and read about those libraries on the manual or the references, and then you can start using it. Alright, so these libraries that you have are good way to start practicing data science. Alright, so that's a good news actually, because a lot of things have been already implemented. So what you need to do is to learn about those algorithms, because the implementation has been already done, and these are very standard implementations, and these are very efficient as well. Okay, so if you don't know most of the stuff right here, don't give up the hope. Anyway, we have to learn that in this course. Good. And a lot of times when you start working on a project, then while working on the project you learn a lot of things that you didn't know about. Alright, so now the big question. For data science, what is the best language? What language should I use? Well, now the good news is right now, as of today, Python is considered to be the best language for data science. Well, maybe some 5 or 6 years back, if you had asked me this question, then I would have said Python and R. So R and Python were competing to get the top position for data science language. But as of today, I'll say that Python has taken the lead. Alright, so Python is the winner. in today's scenario, I'll say, for data science. But still, R is a language which is still popular in a community which is mostly the community of the statisticians. They love R. So if you're coming from the statistics background, you would still like to use use R as a language. So R is still a popular language in data science, but it's confined to the statisticians. They use R. But we will stick to Python. MATLAB is another powerful language which we can use for data science. It's a very good language, but there is a price attached to it. You need to buy MATLAB, then only you can use it, whereas Python and R are free. For MATLAB you need to buy that. So for that reason, maybe a lot of startup companies may not be ready to invest into MATLAB, and they would encourage you to learn the language like Python or R, which are freely available. Excuse me. There are other languages like Java and Scala which are popular too, but not many people use it. There are some people, they like to use Java and Scala, but most of the people right now, they are using Python for data science. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, another good news for Python. So this is regarding the top programming languages in 2019, which was the most recent ranking that I could get. And this is being referenced from Spectrum, IEEE Spectrum. And here also you can see that Python is #1. So there's some score. I don't know how did they compute this score, but if you look at the score, then Python has 100%. 100 score. Then you have Java, C, then C++, and R is the 5th language, and Python is #1. So this will should convince us that we will stick to Python for CSE351. Okay, so again, you'd be curious to know, like, how are we going to how we'll teach you the data science. So what would be the approach to the lecture? So here we will start with one small topic or a problem, and then we'll make sure that we are looking at the theory, and after understanding the theory we are looking at its implementation. So wherever it will be possible to implement, we will implement. And in some cases, in some machine learning algorithms, its implementation is very difficult. So in those cases, what we will do, in those cases we'll learn the libraries, and we'll make sure that we understand how to use these libraries. Okay, so it will be a good mix of theory as well as implementation, and we will take one problem at a time and we'll solve that using theory, and then we'll look at the implementation as well. Now, if you already have a good background in probability, statistics, you understand linear algebra, and you have done programming in Python, then that's a good news. But if not, don't worry, be ready to learn that, because it's a good opportunity, and you'll be all right. And in this process we will look at some important machine learning topics, because if you remember, I said that this is an interdisciplinary course, multidisciplinary, and we have the techniques from different domains like machine learning, statistics, and probability. So machine learning is a very important component of data science. So for that reason, we will go over some very important machine learning algorithms. And why are we doing it? The reason being that we don't want to use any algorithm as a black box, right? And as I made the statement that we will be using Python, and Python we have some very good libraries, and we'll be using those libraries for our algorithm. But when we are using the library, we should also understand like what has been implemented in that. Although we will not implement those algorithms, but we should understand how that algorithm works. As an example, neural networks, artificial neural networks. So we should know how an artificial neural network works. And with that information, we will use the implementation of ANN, which is available in sklearn, scikit-learn library of Python. Okay, so now what is data science, right? Let's start understanding it. Let's make sure that we understand what this domain is. So, well, you were expecting that we'll get a definition for data science, but unfortunately, we cannot define data science because it is still emerging. Everybody, most of the people, they'll have their own definition of data science. So we may not have a globally agreed upon definition of data science. But what we know for sure about data science is that it has different components in it. And what are the different elements of the component of data science? We have exploratory data analysis and visualization. You have machine learning and statistics. You will have high performance computing. Well, you can go on. There are only three components. I can add databases as well, right? So that's the reason I said that this definition is very open. You can have 3 or 4 people, and these 3 or 4 people can come up with 3 or 4 different definition of data science, and every definition might be correct, although different, but they all may have a correct definition of data science. So I found this picture very interesting, which I have borrowed from this article on Medium. So what do we have here? Look at this diagram. We have 3 circles. So this circle on the left that you have, which I believe is in pink color, you have computer science. Then on the right hand side, the blue circle that you have, it is about math and statistics. Then you have the subject matter, which is the domain knowledge. Now when you look at the intersection of all these 3 domains, then right here, the center that you're looking at, this region is your data science. So that means this data science that you have is the domain which falls in the intersection of computer science, maths and statistics, and as well as the domain knowledge. Alright, and you have machine learning right here. So that's an interesting picture which I found about data science. Alright, so that is about it. It's an interdisciplinary domain which involves a lot of techniques like data analysis, data visualization. It will have the techniques from machine learning, the techniques from statistics, and some techniques from high performance computing. Now you might wonder, like, why do we need high performance computing? Well, the answer to that is that most often the data science approach that we have to apply on the data might be on a very big data, right? So we will not always get a very small data. The data could be very big. So if the data is pretty big, say in terabytes, alright, and even if terabyte is too much, even if your data size is in 10 GB, it will be very difficult for you to work on that data on your personal computer. 10 GB might give you a difficult time. So for those cases where your data size may be very big, we will have to use the big data approach. We will have to use high performance computing. Okay, so that is also an important component of data science. Okay, so the last slide in this very first introductory lecture is why data science? Like, this question could be rephrased like, why is data science so important, or why should we doing the data science at the first place? Well, to answer that question, I'll say that in today's age, we have a lot of data available. So data is being generated at a very fast pace, and we have a lot of technological development. We are carrying smart phones, mobile phones with us, and there are a lot of apps which are storing your data, and this data is being collected at place somewhere in some data center. So the message is that because of the technological development, the data is being generated at a very high pace. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of equipments which are generating a lot of data. And now this data has become a very important resource. And for these organizations who are generating this data is very important. Just think about the systems like any e-commerce system. You can think about Amazon. So the Amazon has a lot of users. The users are doing shopping there. Then Amazon is storing the behavior of the customer. Now this data that they are collecting about different users and their shopping habits is a big resource for them. They can utilize that. They can come up with the recommendation system, and in fact they do have recommender system. So probably this is something you might have felt when you go and you're shopping for a textbook. You might find some recommendations down there. So how is that recommendation being generated? Well, there is some algorithm working behind the scene, which is which has been developed or modeled using the data set which is available to Amazon. Okay, so the message is that we are generating a lot of data in different domains, and now when we have so much of data, now these organizations, they want to understand like how can they learn from the data and use that learning from the data to have the business advantage, to have the competitive advantage, right? So now this has become very important. Huge data, and another thing that we have in our favor is the advances that we are making in technology. Now we have cheaper storage devices, we have faster processors, we have very efficient machines. So now something which was impossible to implement because of the hardware limitations maybe some 10 years back has become possible now. We have we have clusters now. We have very powerful machines now. The storage devices have become cheaper. So all these things are working in our favor, and that's the reason why data science has picked up so much. And then we have some role models as well. We see different organizations around us, different companies around us, which have been very successful by exploiting the machine learning algorithms or by doing data science. So the examples could be Google and some hedge funds, and then there are some smart people like Nat Silver. If you want to read about him, you will find some interesting facts. He's a statistician who has done some interesting data analytics, and which made him a very popular. So he had done some baseball scores analysis, match analysis, or data analysis, and he also did some election based data analysis. Alright, so I believe I should stop right here, and this is sufficient for our first introductory lecture. And in my next video lecture I will cover the the next topic. Alright, thank you so much. Bye bye.